Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. In this video we're going to take a look at the Cardano price, what it's doing, and also we take a quick look at the Bitcoin price before we move over to Cardano. Before we start, if you like the content, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and please also consider checking out my second channel. You can find a link in the description. That second channel is about lessons about technical analysis. Haven't published a video now for a few days, but there will be more coming. And also I've got a channel membership with which you would get live streams and also access to the live chat rooms depending on which level as a member you're joining, if you want to join. So let's start with Bitcoin first. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart here. We start on the daily. This is the Coinbase chart, and we just take a look at the price action first, what we are doing at the moment. We are currently trading here at around 47,700. Didn't manage to get above the 48,800 that I said would be crucial for me to say that we continue our way to the upside. At the moment we are at a tipping point. We found strong resistance at the 48,000, and so far we haven't managed to get above it. However, where are we at the moment? Is it just going to be another lower high, or are we really preparing for a breakout to the upside here? So we can see, if we zoom in a little bit, that we are currently preparing for something here. We've got this sort of W pattern here, double bottom, and you know, if this is really going to play out, then let's just take a rough target here. We would have a neckline up here that is at the 48,000 level, just crudely here, and we take that depth of that pattern, add it to the top. That could actually take us up to, let's just zoom out a little bit, definitely two new highs. Probably need to add that a little bit lower, but I think it would certainly take us to 55k if that is really a successful breakout to the upside. I would certainly expect some resistance here at that high here, which was at 53,000. So definitely to that level it could take us, more optimistically up to 55k if it breaks to the upside. At the moment it is just another lower high, and there is no reason for hype at the moment. Yes, nice move to the upside, but it also came as the news came out that I think the Fed doesn't plan to ban cryptocurrencies. That apparently came up in the news yesterday. Was that really the push? Was that the reason for the push? I don't know. But as long as we can't get above the 48,800, which is that local high here that we marked on the 18th of September, we are still in an ABC correction. I did say that now a lot of times, but because new people always come and watch these videos as well, I just need to repeat it a little bit. We can certainly see that first time in the last 3 weeks now, first time for the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks even, we are now back in the bullish range, at least the highest level here in that period here, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th of September. We were also briefly above the 50 level on the RSI, which is also considered bullish, and at that time we made a high here, a local high, but that was the B correction, but the B wave, finalization of the B wave, but since then we dropped, and now we are continuing to push to the upside once more, and the RSI is going with the price. But as you know, yesterday we found some resistance there, so we have that consolidation because the market on the shorter time frames was just overbought. Another good sign here on the MACD is that we made a bullish cross. I'm waiting for that crossing of the zero line, which is going to happen if the price stays at that level in the next few days. And also we had a bullish cross on the ADX, the directional movement lines, which are showing us a long signal at the moment. But we need to take the bigger picture always into consideration. These are only indicators, they only indicate, and you need to understand the bigger picture. And if we come from an ABC correction and we haven't managed to get above the B wave yet, which was that local high here, then technically we are still in that C correction. That is why I stick to my guns at the moment here and have to assume that as long as we haven't managed to get above that level, we are still in that correction phase, even though it's looking quite good at the moment, because here as well we are making, on the hourly chart, we're making higher lows, higher highs. Here we attempted a breakout, failed. Still the sellers can't push the price away from that level much further, so that is typically what you can see before a breakout is happening to the upside, but it's not guaranteed. It doesn't always need to happen. we had a bit of a consolidation because you can see here that we were in the overbought range on the hourly. So no surprise that we had a bit of a resistance consolidation here because the market was just a bit overheated on the shorter term time frames. However, while the RSI is definitely in the bullish range, also, yeah, the MACD is also in the bullish range above the zero line certainly, but we had a bearish crossover after we failed to break to the upside, and the ADX is also on its way down, purely because we are now in a very short-term range market, or not yet. It's still showing as a trend, but we are moving sideways. So the longer that goes, the further the ADX line, the trend line, will drop. But bear in mind, if I zoom out a little bit, we have this sort of W pattern here. You can see that we made an attempt here to push to the upside. But if we just go to the left a little bit, and I just need to zoom out, I think it can be better seen on the, let me just go to the 4-hour chart before we go to Cardano. We then go to Cardano, but I just want to show you that, you know, back here when we dropped after in that flash crash move, you know, we had a very similar pattern. We also had something like a W pattern here, and we tried to push to the upside and failed again at the same level pretty much. So watch that. We failed to get above that same resistance zone back then. We made a very similar pattern here before we pushed to the upside, but we failed. Then we broke down further. Now we pushed again to that level. Buyers are getting stronger. You can see that the uptrend is getting stronger than it was back then, but we still struggle with that level here at the moment. Yeah, so just because we get to that level doesn't mean we need to break through to the upside. We could, and nobody will be able to tell you before if it's going to happen, but just need to be aware of both scenarios, that if we break to the upside, yeah, we could actually get to a new high here and get above the 53k, which would be amazing. I'd be the happiest person, but technically, as long as we are still below the 58,800, we could drop down again to that 41k. So we're currently just in this range. And with Cardano, let's go to Cardano. Sorry, that took a bit longer here with Bitcoin. Cardano as well, having that very similar on the daily. We can see a very similar pattern here with this cup and handle, even though that cup and handle that also many people talk about with Cardano actually, yeah, looks even weirder than the Bitcoin one. I think that actually broke out already to the upside. Is it a cup and handle? Honestly, I wouldn't say so. It doesn't look like a cup and handle to me. Some people talk about it. I don't think so, honestly. It was maybe a cup down here, then you had a handle here, and we broke to the upside, but it's not anymore. I would be surprised. It doesn't look like one. Anyway, we are still in our ABC correction down here as well, trading in this descending wedge currently. We can see that indicator still looking a little bit worse, a little bit more bearish than on the Bitcoin chart, because here what we can see also, the RSI is still on the below the 50 line on the daily, still sort of bearish now since the beginning of September, in that bearish range, even though we are now making higher lows. Yeah, so at least a good indicator, also slightly higher highs. So that is a nice heads up that that downtrend could find its end. Yeah, that we could now finally slowly push to the upside again, because even though while we are making lower highs here on the price, we're making slightly higher lows on the RSI. So that only emerged yesterday, I think, and today with that most recent high, even though it's not really very obvious, but you can see from that wave here to that wave, if I draw a line, it is a very weak bullish divergence. It's hardly noticeable, but it's a very weak bullish divergence, even though prices are still dropping. And with even though with Bitcoin we've made a new high, yeah, Cardano still has made a lower high at the moment, right? So that means we have something like a bullish divergence. The price made a lower high, but the RSI, the momentum indicator, is making a higher high, even though it's very weak. But it just indicates that that downtrend is currently slowing down. And in that whole phase of downtrend here, since that correction started, we actually haven't seen a higher high. So that is really nice, very nicely noticeable. Actually started back here, I think, on the 18th of September. So from then to now, you can slightly see that emergence of a bullish divergence. So that is nice. That is good to see. That's the first heads up that this downtrend is slowing down. On the price action, you can also notice that because we made a higher low, and the MACD line is finally crossing, having a bullish crossover, but we haven't crossed the zero line yet. So it's going to look a little bit better as well. Signs are improving, certainly, because you can see here on the MACD, we've been really trading in the bearish range now. The histogram has been in the red for a month now. So we are finally getting to that zero line again. Typically when that happens, you know, it indicates that something nice, you know, that we are going to push to the upside. You know, last time that happened, that was the 24th of July or even 23rd, and you know what happened after that. So really nice to see that. And, you know, maybe that downtrend is over. Maybe that downtrend is already over. But for Cardano, then we would need to push above the 265 level, which was here again that B wave correction, B wave finalization, before we then drop down further in a C wave, after which you will then get the continuation to the upside. But the key question is always, is that C wave already completed? And unless we have managed to push above 265, don't think it has been completed. At least we don't have the confirmation yet. And however, the ADX line still showing us a downtrend here. The directional movement index, the red line, still showing above the green line, which is a short signal. So overall, the indicator is looking a little bit weaker than on the Bitcoin chart, even though we have a bullish divergence here forming now, which is a first heads up that we could see the bottom here, yeah, slowly emerging. So that is nice to see. And if we take a look at where we are currently trading, we broke out of this descending wedge to the upside, retested it. That's where we're currently trading within. And even more obvious than on the Bitcoin chart, where we have this W pattern, here on the Cardano chart, we have, you could argue, a cup and handle forming. Again, not a very, very clear one, and it's more like a triple bottom here. But yeah, it's you know, these don't always come out like very round anyway. So cup and handle, which basically means you have this sell-off, then you have an accumulation phase, and then you form that handle here, at which you at some point will break to the upside. And that could then really take us to nice higher levels. So if we identify here a neckline of that cup, just draw a line roughly here. So we have a neckline here, a potential handle currently forming here in some sort of a channel or a triangle even. You know, maybe we're coming down that way. It's not very accurate now, but at some point then there will be a breakout. And if we take the target, you know, if we take normally as a price target, you would take the depth of the cup. So let's just take that from $2.03 to that neckline, which is currently sitting at 220, 227. Yeah, and then we take the depth of that and add it to the two price points here. The first one, the more optimistic one, is if we add it to the upper side of the neckline. That would take us to 250, roughly 250, maybe a little bit higher, 251. And if we add it to the where we are currently, just let's assume that the breakout of the handle will happen soon. If that really happens and pushes us to the upside, that could take us to 245. And I think that would be a more realistic target. It's also a more conservative target, and it would be very well in alignment with that recent high that we saw here at 245. I think we would have, in a push to the upside, I think we would struggle in an initial move to get above the 245, because that was, you can see that here, a very strong supply area where we really pushed to that 245 level very quickly. But then there was a lot of sell-off happening there. The sellers were very strong, and you had a very sharp peak here, only very short, and then we sold off immediately from that level all the way down to in an immediate move to 215. So again, you had something like an A, B, C correction here, a small one. And that's always what I say with the Elliott wave method. You know, it just assumes that you have these ABC corrections, and then you have waves within waves. So on a larger picture, we marked the 310 here, came down in an A correction, B correction, C correction down here. And now, you know, it's not clear yet if we have really seen the low yet. That could theoretically already be a smaller wave 1, 2, and possibly a 3 within which we would be trading now. And if we assume that would be a small wave 3, let's just take the Fibonacci retracement tool and apply it to the current price action and see where the price target could be. And we could see it, you know, at roughly 243, 244. This is the 1.618 Fibonacci extension level. That is also the level that would normally be expected for a wave 3 at least. And again, 243, 244, that would be very well in line with the target that I just gave you from that cup and handle, which would be at 245 based on that former support resistance level here as well. So very interesting. You know, at the moment, nobody knows if that breakout is really going to happen to the upside. It looks like at the moment it's just a lower high here at the moment. But as I said, we also made a higher low. So that is why the RSI on the daily is showing a bullish divergence, which is a first heads up that we could really have seen that bottom. But again, we haven't seen final confirmation that we are continuing our way to the upside, that we have overcome the main C correction within which we are currently trading. And if that is all complete, you know, that C correction, the price target for that the primary wave 3 on the larger scale within which we are currently trading, and for everybody who's been following me for a while knows that, is at least 450 on that primary wave 3. That price push will push us, obviously not in a straight line like that, but it will push us in a bumpy ride to the upside to at least 450, because on a larger scale we had a large wave 1, a wave 2 came down here, and it's all moved because I moved the time frames. But you had a primary wave 1, 2. Since then we've been trading in a wave 3. That was not the finalization of the wave 3. We are still in wave 3 because in that correction here we came down too far. So we are still in that wave 3, and that price target based on the Elliott Wave method would take us to at least 450. My view is in the next few months, but the problem is also with Elliott Wave, you can never say when really. Not just based on the charts. I would then, for that, I would take into account the stock to flow model, and the stock to flow model predicts for October, for Bitcoin at least, because it only works with Bitcoin. The stock to flow Bitcoin model predicts a price of 64,000, I think, or 63,000 by the end of October for Bitcoin, which could then honestly push Cardano also already to a price which is near 450 in my view. So let's see if that happens. It was very accurate in September. It was very accurate in August. I think for September, a price was predicted end of September of 43,000 for Bitcoin, which was highly accurate. So let's just see if October will play out at 64K. So, you know, even if I have been a little bit bearish in the last few videos, because I still think objectively that we haven't completed that, I just have to assume it, that we haven't completed the C wave yet. As long as we are still below the 48,800 for Bitcoin, I'm still bullish. I'm so bullish because I own Bitcoin, I own Cardano, and I am bullish on it anyway. But yeah, I just need to tell you here very objectively in the charts what I can see. And again, hopefully you liked the update. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe and whatever. Please stay with me and check out the next videos when they come out. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.